Hello buddies, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about a couple of my predictions based on this article that we see here from the Wall Street Journal. And I want to give a couple of my prediction. Again, not financial advice, it's just education information for free. You take it or you leave it. Take it as you will. I think this is something I've been repeating many times in this channel since I started it almost 3 years ago, is that we don't give financial advice. We provide education information for free, right? I'm not doing any of that. It's more for raising awareness about this space, CRISPR space specifically, genomics, biotech, and just talks in general, right? And what I want to talk about today is this article here that made me think, right? So this was published like 2 days ago, right? From the Wall Street Journal. Gene editing will change medicine and maybe health investing too. The first treatment based on CRISPR technology is poised to win the FDA approval next month, offering hope to patients and opportunities to investors. And of course, the article starts talking about it. You got to pay a subscription for it. I don't have a Wall Street Journal subscription. I can't show you guys the whole article, but I'm going to take a guess that they talk about the history. Of course, here they're talking about the Nobel Prize winner Dr. Jennifer Doudna, and they're talking about the history of where we are right now with CRISPR, specifically with the UK approving the first ever CRISPR therapy for sickle cell disease, a rare disease, a rare blood disorder. That the median lethal age is about 40 in the UK. So what that means, median age of lifespan, which means that by the age of 40, someone with sickle cell disease is probably dead, right? And that is, of course, on top of all the transfusion, the VOCs, quite expensive, hospitalization, stress. You talk about the impact on families and communities, on society as a whole. And that's just one blood disorder. We're not even talking about beta thalassemia right now. We're just talking about sickle cell disease, which is still big, right? It's no joke. And obviously, I'm gonna take a guess. This article here goes over the basics, in which obviously we don't need to go over it. That's why I didn't really try to get the full article here online. So Wall Street Journal, why this is important? First of all, I want to remind viewers that we are not yet in the mainstream, right? I put a post on X, I think yesterday. I said how we're starting to hit the S curve in the CRISPR landscape, and I got a lot of reposts, a lot of likes on that post, and it's quite obvious, right? People are starting to feel that in this space, right? If you're in the CRISPR landscape, you're starting to feel this S curve starting to start. So if you guys don't know what the S curve is, let me just show it to you guys really quick. So the S curve is basically it looks like an S, right? But obviously it's not an S, but it looks like an S in the graph, right? So the X, you have the time variable, and the Y, you have like the performance of the technology, the growth of the technology, the impact that the technology has on society. And it's always like the beginning of the S, right? It's all the introduction of this technology to the mainstream, right? People start looking at it, people start talking about it. There's articles, there's negative press on it. Don't get me wrong, it's not all positive, right? But then you have this inflection point, right, where there's no going back and things are just going to go forward, right? And obviously at some point, and of course we're talking about years here, where it's not like 1 month or 1 year. Could take like 20 years. When you think about technology, let's take just the internet. I mean, introduction could have been like in the late 80s, in the 90s, and growth could have been in more in the 2000s. And I would argue that we're still not even in the maturity, and it's been like what, 30 years the internet's been adopted in personal households or something like that. So it's the same thing with CRISPR, but I would say that CRISPR, we're not even like here, right? I don't know if you guys can see that on the screen. We're beginning it, right? And these articles here, like we're taking a look at from Wall Street Journal, reminds us that, because now you have mainstream media covering what could be something that really takes off very fast, right? I want to remind viewers that the UK approved CRISPR and it got a lot of attention. I think the stock went up like 15%. It had a ripple effect across all the other CRISPR stocks, even the biotech market as a whole. Because people realize, this thing is for real, right? It's not just documentaries on Netflix or on HBO, which again, I've watched those great genome editing documentaries. It's not just, Nobel Prize winners like Dr. Doudna and Dr. Charpentier. But this is actually being put into action where now investors are looking at it and say, okay, well, now we have a business case. Now I can go back to my board, my team, my company and say, hey, we want to invest in this space because this is the potential revenue, right? These governments are going to potentially allow this CRISPR-based therapy from CRISPR Therapeutics, for example, and Vertex, the Hexacell program. And there's a lot of billions to be made there. And I think we can make a lot of money from those companies, right? And I think a lot of people are going to start talking about that as investment side of things. And of course, there's the whole patient and better. I've made multiple comments on this in the last few videos, but extending the lifespan of the human being, right? You got to remember, guys, it's not just about like, let's say you're a healthy person, let's say you were bound to pass away at like, I don't know, like 90 years old. It's not about like having something in your body where now you can go from 90 years old to 100 years old because we extended your lifespan. It's actually about looking at the average population, the median population, and seeing, okay, so if someone dies at 65 or at 40 in the case of sickle cell disease, and get this year 40 to maybe 60 or maybe 70 or 80 in best case scenario. So now you're doubling that median age from someone with sickle cell disease, which essentially means if you step back and you look at a community and society as a whole, you're extending the lifespan. So genome editing actually extends your lifespan of society, right? And of course, we talk about priorities. These companies are looking at rare diseases for many, many reasons, which I'm not going to get into it. But these rare diseases, the median age for some of those rare diseases could be like 30, right? Could be 25. In some cases, you don't even get past adulthood in some rare diseases, right? And you talk about, being paralyzed. You talk about, being born with these diseases, not being productive to society, as we would like a human being to be productive, right? Of course, it's no fault of their own. It's just nature getting a bad hand to them. But the point here is that with genome editing, you can change that. You can reverse that narrative, right? You can say, hey, what used to be someone who was liable because it was a liability because of having like beta thalassemia or sickle cell disease, now we can get them productive in society. We can double their lifespan, potential lifespan. And I think that's amazing. And I'm going to go back to my topic originally here. I think genome editing here is hitting that S-curve. I think it's starting to hit that S-curve. I think December 8th, a lot of people have been, I put up the poll yesterday and I said, what do you expect the FDA to do here? And most people said, I think it was like almost 90% out of like, I think 100 votes, basically 90 out of 100 votes said that, yeah, FDA will approve CRISPR Therapeutics and Vertex Hexacell program by December 8th. So 10% don't think so, and the majority think so. And I said as a joke, although it's not really a joke, it's more of a serious note. I said the FDA should probably review this poll because, look, if the public wants it, if the data is in there, if the UK is allowing it, and UK is no joke, right? UK is like a top 5 economy in the world. I want to remind viewers that I don't think people realize this. The UK is the top 5 economy in the world, right? They have one of the best healthcare systems in the world, and they do have a universal healthcare system in place. So it's no joke. And I promise I'll make a video about the whole insurance and NHS thing at some point. I'm hoping this week I'll make a point because I think a lot of people are confused as to, okay, well, we got the UK government to approve it, but now we have to go through the NHS, which is their regular healthcare system, and what's that cost going to look like? What is the insurance role? What is the government role in terms of cost? Because there's no way a patient can pay 2 point something million if that's what the price ends up being. There is no way, and I don't foresee that. I think the government and insurance companies will cover that in many regions around the world, including the US. I think the US, although it is not a free universal healthcare system in place, there is no way you can expect a patient to pay like 2 million. There's no way. There's literally no way. So I'm really really excited for this, guys. This is so big. I sometimes I try to step back and say how far we've come in the space, and the amazing job that people at these companies are doing. I mean, kudos to them, their leadership teams, the employees there. And I want to give kudos to the legacy media, right? To the Wall Street Journal, to covering these articles. I mean, look, they could have never covered these articles, and we would have a technology that's doing amazing things, and no one would know about it. But Wall Street Journal has a lot of coverage. I mean, I would argue that in the stocks world, I'm pretty sure Wall Street Journal, on top of Yahoo Finance, I think those two medias are probably the most consulted medias in the whole stock market, at least in North America, in the English world. So it's big, guys. It's big. It's a big article. It's a big coverage. There's lots of things happening here. I don't want you guys to miss this boat. I think there's something here to be said. I think a lot of people are sort of sleeping on this technology. They're sitting on sidelines. But of course, here we're on a Sunday. It's easy for me to say that, as markets are not open and we don't know what stock price fluctuations are going to be by December 8th. I would not look at that, guys. I would look at long term. This is my mentality, my philosophy. And I think I can speak for a lot of people on this channel. We look at long term, price movements, right? We're looking at long term. And I'm not talking about like 2-3 years. I'm talking about like 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I really think there's something to be said here. I think there's lots of opportunities. So you guys take that for what you will. Let me know, guys, what do you guys think about legacy media covering these articles? Do you guys think we're hitting the S curve? Do you guys think we're in the introduction phase, growth phase? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you guys think. As always, subscribe if you've not. Like this video if you found value, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.